KDs Edmonton. Local breaking news with Jeremy Thompson.
When somebody says, give us that much amount of money, it's out of this world, man.
Extortion and arson once again threatening Edmonton's South Asian community. New investigations point to an Indian gang as police call on community for help. Good evening. Members of Edmonton's South Asian community are living in fear again tonight amid new extortion threats in and around the city. Police say they're investigating connections to a gang which could soon be labeled a terrorist organization. CTV's Nav Sanga reports.
Extortion threats and arsons against the South Asian business community in Edmonton have ignited again.
They are worried. They have young families and they have businesses.
Edmonton police confirmed there have been 6 recent incidents. Radio host Kulmeet Sanga says business owners who have been targeted are hiring security.
When somebody says, give us that much amount of money, it's out of this world, man.
Over a year's time, a police investigation known as Project Gaslight identified a total of 40 incidents of extortions, arsons, and shootings targeting South Asian businesses. Police say these latest extortions are somewhat related, but are not being included in Project Gaslight.
It seems to be different as far as the players that are involved, but some association and some linkages, yeah.
Police believe one of those players could be the Lawrence Bishnoi gang. India's counter-terrorism law enforcement agency says the gang's leader Bishnoi operates his terror syndicate from jails in different states in India and through an associate in Canada. BC Premier David Eby and Alberta Premier Daniel Smith have both called for the federal government to designate the gang as a terrorist organization in Canada.
So we hope that it'll function as a deterrent for people wanting to be part of this entity now that it's labeled as such, as well as kind of afford our national partners a little bit more tools to do some things behind the scenes.
Police believe there are more extortions that have not been reported. They are holding a town hall near the end of the month where they hope to build greater trust with the South Asian community.
By communicating with us, it's not going to change any risks to you, but help give us some of that information so that we can follow up investigatively to actually build in that public safety that's needed by actually holding these people accountable.
The police has to come up with some sort of strategy how they can make people feel safe.
Nav Sanga, CTV News, Edmonton.
A man was killed in a motorcycle crash Tuesday night, marking the 20th deadly collision in Edmonton so far this year. It happened around 11 p.m. in an industrial area near Highway 19 and Highway 2. Police say a speeding motorcyclist crashed into a concrete barrier. A 40-year-old man died on scene. Last year, there were a total of 26 deadly crashes, and in 2023, there were 24. With nearly half the year left, we are on track to surpass those totals. Well, hundreds of people lined up in Edmonton last night for their chance to speak directly to the Premier. The Alberta Next panel receiving mixed reviews from attendees. CTV's Connor Hogg reports.
The conversations that we have tonight and throughout the Alberta Next engagement period will help to shape the future of our province.
Ranging viewpoints represented at the Wednesday night Alberta Next panel in Edmonton, some making their feelings known outside. Separation, one of the hot topics, despite it not being on the approved list of topics. Are you in favor of such a plan?
It depends on what the alternatives were. If it was maybe for us to just separate NBBC, Saskatchewan, Alberta, maybe. Become the 51st state? No. Never.
So let's just move forward with a referendum on independence, force that constitution open, and see where those talks take us.
Inside, a wide range of reactions from the crowd.
Why is this question even a question when we already have done this survey?
Among the issues on the agenda, a provincial police force, the province's sovereignty within Canada, and an Alberta pension plan.
I hate to see what this province is becoming. We sound like bratty children. We're getting a bad deal.
My last paycheck, I put $1,700 toward the CPP. I would rather that be in Alberta towards Alberta infrastructure.
The province also asking for ideas for constitutional amendments, including Senate and immigration reform. People also wanted to talk about other things, including healthcare, money for AISH recipients, and separation. At the end of the night, mixed reviews. Do you feel like your voice was heard?
I do. I think that the panel was fairly stacked for the UCP. The most interesting questions for me concerned health and education.
I think it was great. I think people were heard. A little bit disrespectful in some parts, or there was some heckling that didn't need to happen, but they're pretty intense conversations.
Alberta Next panels will continue over the coming months. The province says that the discussions that take place will inform which referendum questions are put to voters next year. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
You can now drink alcohol around the clock at many Alberta casinos as part of a new pilot program. CTV's Stephanie Thomas reports.
Viva Las Vegas or Viva Alberta? Much like the popular desert destination, 13 select casinos in this province are now able to sell liquor 24/7.
As long as people are responsible, I don't see a problem with it. I don't drink myself, but I think it would be convenient for the players that come early in the morning.
The Alberta Gaming, Liquor and Cannabis developed the pilot program that started on July 1st. The agency says liquor service matches slot machine hours. Casinos must follow a number of conditions to ensure patron safety. Liquor service is limited to gaming activity areas only, and an incident log must be recorded between midnight and 9 a.m. Officials with Pure Casinos and the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino tell CTV News the transition has been smooth and aligns with the hours the casinos are open. According to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, research shows increased alcohol availability can lead to increased harms, and regulators and police should work in tandem.
If this is going to be 24 hours a day, there need to be inspections happening at these locations, not just in the regular hours, but in these new expanded hours.
Some casino patrons are lukewarm on the extension.
I guess it's a good idea to a certain extent. I'm not sure.
The liquor doesn't really matter to me. I'm just here to play a little bit of gambling once in a while and go for the cheap food.
Doesn't affect me. I don't drink.
After 6 months, AGLC will evaluate before considering making it a permanent policy.
A candidate running in Battle River Crowfoot says she stopped door knocking because of death threats. Sarah Spanier is running as an independent in the by-election. She's hoping to fill the seat left vacant by former Conservative MP Damien Kurek. He stepped down so party leader Pierre Poilievre could run. Spanier says she has told RCMP about the online threats. She believes it's because of her advocacy for transgender people.
I have received some pretty credible threats to my safety, and I don't feel particularly like I want to put other people in harm's way as well. Anybody who comes with me, their safety is equally, if not more important than mine, and with the negativity that I have been receiving, it's time to try a different strategy.
RCMP confirmed they received a report of online threats made towards Spanier. A spokesperson says the investigation has not resulted in any charges. Well, nearly 1,000 Canadians wound up in hospital after getting hurt using scooters, according to data released today. About half involved e-scooters. But one e-scooter company says the data is misleading. CTV's Amanda Anderson explains.
E-scooters may be a fun and convenient way to get around, but new data released by the Canadian Institute for Health Information shows a slight increase in the number of people getting hurt.
An increase of 32%, so it goes from 375 in 2022, 2023 to 498 e-scooter related injury hospitalizations in 2023-2024.
In Alberta, there was a 22% increase, with 143 people requiring a hospital stay in 2023-2024.
And I think those numbers actually underrepresent the injuries that are actually occurring, because there's people that get injured that don't go to the emergency department.
But the head of Bird Canada says the stats are misleading.
E-scooters are not getting more dangerous over time. People are just using them more often, so the gross number of incidents is obviously going to go up.
According to data Bird collects, they've seen a decrease in injuries, reporting 1 in every 83,000 rides.
Nothing is 100% safe, but when comparing against other forms of active transportation, e-scooters are very safe.
For this emergency room doctor, scooter-related injuries are frustrating because he says they're predictable and preventable.
It's good you're doing a story trying to raise awareness. Will it make a difference? I suspect not, because most people will probably listen to the story and go, oh, they can't be that dangerous, and get on one. and then find out just how dangerous they are.
There are significantly safer measures in the shared mobility space versus personal devices that are less regulated.
Francis Cuddy says education and enforcement only go so far. It's the user that needs to truly understand the risk.
Broken wrists, broken legs, they all heal. But you break your spine and end up in a wheelchair, or you get a serious head injury. Those things don't really heal.
Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
A local mother is warning others about the effects of measles after her baby became sick. Morgan Birch's 9-month-old Kimmy contracted measles 5 months ago after a routine vaccination appointment at a local hospital. She was too young to get immunized for that particular virus. Birch says her baby had 5 days of fever over 100 degrees, then spots exploded all over her body. While Kimmy is on the road to recovery, Birch says she's not in the clear.
She can potentially lose her hearing. The side effects from the disease can show up, 7 to 10 years down the road from now. Like her brain can swell randomly and she can die. This is what happens when you don't vaccinate.
36 confirmed cases of measles were reported overnight, 22 of those in the South Zone. That's where CTV's Terry Fikowski traveled to learn more about the persistent hotspot.
It's the Alberta town well known for its corn, but lately the quiet community of nearly 10,000 has become known as a hotbed for measles.
It sheds a negative light on our area.
Alberta's making too big of a deal about it. I feel like it's another flu-like symptom. We've had it, and it is manageable.
There are signs of the outbreak, like this one, trying to stop the highly contagious disease from entering the local emergency department. The South Health Zone accounts for nearly 60% of the province's total cases, and a blanket measles warning covers the whole region.
And our kids were all vaccinated. We were vaccinated. We're of that generation.
It's sad. It's to see all these kids that are sick.
Taber has some of the lowest measles vaccination rates in Alberta, with just shy of 29% of children under 2 having the recommended 2 doses of vaccine in 2024, allowing the disease to run rampant.
People have got rashes or difficulty breathing and stuff, and they're asking these questions, how to handle and treat these things, and we just try to guide them as best we can.
Many people believe the low uptick is due to a mix of religious beliefs and anti-vaccine views.
My grandkids had measles, and they weren't that sick. They were sick, but not that sick.
And I had 4 days fever, but I didn't have a spot. Nothing to be scared of.
But Morgan Birch from Fort Saskatchewan strongly disagrees.
She was so swollen. Her eyes were swollen shut.
Her 4-month-old baby, Kimmy, was hospitalized in the spring after catching measles, too young to be immunized.
It was scary because you don't know what's going to happen.
But ICU doctors treating more serious cases see firsthand just how dangerous measles can be.
That can be brain inflammation. But even with the breathing issues, requiring more breathing support, needing ICU care for that, so having a breathing tube to help you breathe are some of the things that we're encountering.
But Cameron Hazel hopes those outcomes can be avoided with more education.
It's been a little eye-opening. You made a choice when your children are young not to vaccinate them. And I spoke with one person who said that was probably the worst choice they ever made, but that's just one.
A new simulation lab at Norquest College is helping nursing students identify measles symptoms in diverse populations.
So make sure when you're assessing, you want to assess the back of your patient's skin as well, okay, for any of these rashes or raised areas, any areas that are hyperpigmented.
The lab uses high-tech patient mannequins that have been programmed with measles symptoms. The college says many healthcare providers have never seen or worked with the virus. It says many images and textbooks are old and don't explain how rashes may appear on different skin tones. With measles on the rise across Alberta, Norquest says it's important for future nurses to know what to watch out for.
The earlier intervention, the less chance of exposure to others, and the more that the virus can be contained to eliminate risk in bigger populations. So if healthcare providers are able to assess and report and respond quicker, we can prevent more spread of this disease.
The measles simulation lab is open to practicing healthcare professionals looking to improve their own skills. Alberta's Auditor General says the province is not verifying whether childcare operators are using public funds to lower fees for parents. In a new report, Doug Wiley says without more oversight, the provincial government could be overcompensating some operators. A review of a sample of childcare operators found more than half submitted inaccurate reports. As a result, in one case, the province overpaid an operator more than $26,000 in 1 month. The money for the subsidies comes from the Alberta childcare deal with Ottawa. The Education and Childcare Minister says he accepts all the report's recommendations and he will be working to implement a more streamlined and accountable claims system. Well, hockey fans and players in Ontario were starstruck when two of the world's greatest players stepped onto the ice for a beer league game. Oilers captain Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl took part in a game in McDavid's hometown of Newmarket Wednesday night. Despite having a pair of NHL All-Stars, TSN says their team lost 6-2.
What was it like to officiate a game with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl sharing the ice?
Honestly, it's incredible to see them coming down the ice. It's nothing like you ever see in minor hockey.
It's just really cool to be on the ice with them, just kind of starstruck at the end of the day as well.
Are you guys shocked they didn't put up more goals?
That goalie stood on his head out there, so they're not too shocked, actually.
And coming up next, it's been a century since the first ascent of Mount Alberta. The climb connects Jasper with Japan. And Midway mayhem, a flurry of trucks and cranes take over Northlands as crews assemble rides and carnival games for K-Days.
A lot of it is organized chaos, but a lot of planning goes into the logistics. We bring the equipment in a strategic order. The placement's very important.
Good evening, folks. Temperatures into the mid-20s again tomorrow, but the wind will return, a little gusty through the afternoon, and then cooler for the weekend with some off and on precipitation. We'll give you a timeline on that in just a few minutes.
The Alpine Club of Canada is marking 100 years since the first ascent of Mount Alberta with a special invitation. 20 members of the Japanese Alpine Club have been invited to Alberta to mark the occasion. 100 years ago, 6 Japanese climbers along with 3 Swiss guides became the first to reach the summit. The group left an ice axe at the peak engraved with the initials of the expedition's sponsor. The daughter of one of the original climbers says her father inspired many other people to try reaching new heights.
He taught his friends in Japan how to climb the winter mountains, and from then in Japan the mountain climbing is very popular.
The Consulate General of Japan hopes this year's visit will serve as a gesture of encouragement to Jasper while it recovers from last year's wildfire. A local tutoring company is already preparing for a new school year. Staff and volunteers with Tutor Teach are filling backpacks with donated school supplies at Avonmore Park. 28 backpacks will be given to students who can't afford to buy their own. Last year, the campaign collected 400 items. This year, it reached 1,000.
The outpouring of generosity was just heartwarming, to be honest with you. People not only said, come and grab stuff off my doorstep, they would message us a few days later, hey, I found more, come back, get more.
If you'd like to donate, you can reach out to Tutor Teach online. It's accepting new or gently used school supplies. Well, crews have moved into Northlands. The process of building the rides that make up K-Days is fully underway. CTV's Connor Hogg visited the K-Days grounds to see how the massive rides are delivered and constructed in just a couple of days.
We closed Calgary, the Stampede, on Sunday. We tore down on Monday, and we started heading this way on Monday afternoon.
The KDs Midway is here with some assembly required.
A lot of it is organized chaos, but a lot of planning goes into the logistics. We bring the equipment in a strategic order. The placement's very important.
By Thursday morning, a Midway is sprouting up as Klondike Mike looks on.
It all happens. It's kind of like a symphony, an orchestra.
We have a transportation department which moves, I figure somewhere around 320 vehicles of some description come from Calgary here to Edmonton.
24 hours to opening, time is of the essence. A crew of 500 arrives with the rides, each assigned to teams that work on one attraction through the whole 19-stop season. They take out the familiar pieces they'll need to put their larger puzzle together.
It's really exciting seeing this stuff come together, and it starts on a trailer, and at the end of the day, it's a full-blown amusement ride.
Some rides are more complicated to set up than others. Many involve working at heights that might make some feel a little squeamish. The job may be fast, but it's fun.
There's a sense of electricity in the air. There's excitement when this equipment goes up. Everybody's motivated and ready to get it up and open.
I think it kind of hits home when the gates open. You know, all that work pays off, and all of our guys kind of look forward to let's get this party started.
The Midway opens Friday morning at 11 a.m. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
An acreage in southern Alberta has nearly 100 vintage tractors lined up and ready to be auctioned off this weekend. The Massey Harris and Massey Ferguson tractors belong to Don Ellingson. He's been a collector since 1990. Ellingson has restored some of them, while others are starting to show their age. At one time, Ellingson had 107 tractors. He's now down to 91.
I've always enjoyed, ever since I was a little kid, anything that runs, anything with wheels. I was always interested in trying to figure out how it worked. And I was very shy when I was very young, but I was studying everything very closely to figure out how it worked.
Ellingson says it's time to part with his collection because his health is failing. He says some of the restored tractors should fetch up to $10,000 US. You can view the tractors at an acreage north of the Springbank Airport. The online auction is expected to wrap up Saturday evening. When we come back, follow your nose and taste buds to Churchill Square. Taste of Edmonton is packing flavor into downtown for the next 10 days.
The kitchens are open, the patio is open, the sun is shining, it is a hot day. We've got every type of cuisine that you can imagine.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Welcome back. Temperatures into the mid-20s today. It was a little hazy. This morning, you had a high-risk air quality health index reading. It was moderate through the afternoon and early evening hours. Conditions are improving now through the overnight period, and by tomorrow morning, looks like skies should be fairly clear in the Edmonton area, at least as far as the smoke. We'll show you the cloud cover in a second. It's going to be a really smoky couple of days, Friday into Saturday across northeastern Alberta, but you notice how pretty much all of this avoids the Edmonton area. So until maybe Saturday night, early Sunday morning, that smoke stays out of here. You can see some of this does start to track back towards the Edmonton area, though, by late Saturday night. So we'll see how that plays out. Clear skies through the overnight period here and into tomorrow morning should be mainly sunny, but we'll get some increase in cloud through the afternoon. Out ahead of this low pressure system, that system is also going to produce some showers and thunderstorms in through parts of northwestern Alberta, from Grand Prairie all the way down through the foothills and into southern Alberta, and pretty high potential for some severe thunderstorms in through those areas late in the day tomorrow. Could see some sizable hail off to the southwest of Calgary. Might see a tornado late in the day tomorrow. That risk is on the table. Here in the Edmonton region, really looks like all of this kind of avoids us through the evening hours tomorrow. There's a slight risk tomorrow evening for an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but the bulk of this activity is going to be off to the northwest and then focused around Red Deer late Friday night into the overnight period. By Saturday morning, that lifts north, so you get a chance of some showers or some steadier rain for the first half of the day Saturday. Heaviest, steadiest rain starts to lift off to the north through the afternoon hours, and so I think for much of the afternoon on Saturday, it's just cloudy with a few sunny breaks. Once we get into Saturday evening, best chance is going to be north and northwest of Edmonton, maybe just a hit and miss shower in the Edmonton region. And then Sunday, again, most of the activities off to the west of the Edmonton area, but through the afternoon hours on Sunday, chance of a hit and miss shower. 12 degrees in Edmonton tomorrow morning. In the 9 to 14 degree range across the north, you'll be into the mid to upper 20s in the northeast. 29 for high level. Just 23, though, into Red Deer tomorrow. Here in Edmonton, about 25 degrees and gusty through the afternoon. 20s for Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's not going to rain all weekend long, but especially Saturday morning, we'll likely see some precipitation. That is your forecast.
Over the next 10 days, downtown Edmonton will be full of hungry people trying a variety of dishes from local restaurants. Taste of Edmonton has returned to Churchill Square. The annual food festival gives visitors the chance to sample dozens of different items all in one spot. Organizers say one of the best parts of the festival is knowing visitors are also helping support local community groups. The event runs through July 27th. And that's all the time for this edition of CTV News. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.